All right. Can you guys hear me? Do I need to use the mic? I prefer not to, if you guys are good.
That's good.
Right? All right.
You can move your chairs in a little closer if you want. Anybody who wants to move right up here is fine.
I thank you guys for having me and Chaz here and the rest of the X Factory guys. To make it official, thank you. I'm Paul Sinclair. This is my dad, Chaz. Together we are X Factory.
Yeah, poke me in the nose. See if I care.
This is it. Like, if you call the shop, you know, it's probably one of us is going to answer. If you get a kit bag that's wrong, like he screwed it up, you know. If you get a part that's excellent, that's my fault. No, I appreciate you guys having me out here. To give you a little history, I'm 28. I've been racing RC cars since '98, so 16 years. Yeah, 16 years. We're from the Toledo, Ohio area. It's an hour south of Detroit, 2 hours west of Cleveland. To give you an idea, it's about six and a half hours here.
6.5, at least.
What do you say? And so I graduated high school in 2003. And about that time, Chaz owned his own trucking company beforehand through the 90s, since as long as I can remember. And he retired from that, sold the business, and he was bored because he was a retired man. And we had an idea to make our own car called the X5. And what it was a conversion for the double X4 back in the day. Some of you may remember the double X4 was a 3-belt car, much like the 22.4 that Losi has now re-released. And we made our own molded chassis that turned it into a single belt car. So you bought our conversion kit, you got our chassis, you got a belt and slipper shaft, and you bolted the double X4 front and rear end on. Kind of sounds familiar. And that was our first car. And really, X Factory started not because we wanted to make an RC car company, but rather just because Chaz and I wanted to see if it would work. Like, we had this crazy idea that a single belt double X4 would be faster than the 3-belt original car. And like, we didn't intend to start a company. We didn't think we were going to have to start a website. We didn't think about printing instruction manuals. We didn't think about, like, we just wanted to make a car and see if it was fast, right? Like, sitting around the track, like, yeah, that'd be a good idea. Let's try it. And here we are, you know, nearly 10 years later. Chaz really started the company. I went to school down in Tennessee. I went to a small private liberal arts college called Rhodes College and got a physics degree. And then I went to Vanderbilt football school in the SEC. But they have a really good engineering program, and I got a master's in mechanical engineering. Graduated with that in 2009 and moved home, and I've been doing it full-time since. So in that time, Chaz, like I said, Chaz really started the company on his own. He started going to the machine shops, working with engineers. A driver named Greg Hodak, who used to be really fast in the 90s. He's kind of semi-retired now. He works for AKA. If you buy any...
Great TQ Doors in two-wheel drive buggy.
Yeah, like 97?
97.
He was a fast driver.
One of the very fastest guys.
And he was the first guy that we had on the first true, you know, fully paid sponsored driver we had. And with that X5 4-wheel drive car, he won the Nationals 2005 when they were in Connecticut, the Roar Mod Nats. Qualified 4th, I think Brian Mayfield TQ'd it.
Yep.
And Greg won A-Main 1 and then A-Main 3
Yep.
to win it. Since that time, we've had, you know, we moved on from the X5, the 4-wheel drive car, to the X6 2-wheel drive car. Obviously, I think we can take credit for starting the mid-motor craze that's going on now. People are starting to realize how fast it is. And then from the X6, we moved to the X60 truck, and then the SCX60 short course. Along the way, we discontinued the X5 because it got a bit long in the tooth. And the X6 has gone from the X6 to the X6 squared. Now the X6 cubed is our 3rd version. Released that car last year, and it's still selling very well. So yeah, my own history. Like I said, I started in 1998. I started going to, I finished 3rd at the Stock Nationals in 2003, which is kind of the end of my amateur career. You know, that's about the time X Factory started. I've been racing the Mod Nationals since 2005, or 2004 in Albuquerque.
4, yeah.
I finished as high as 16th, so I've not made the main at the Nationals yet, but of course that's my goal. In 2005, I traveled to Italy and finished in the top 60 in the world, the IFMAR World Champs that were held over there. And then just recently, of course, what do you say, made the main at the CRCRC Midwinter out of 132 buggies.
132.
And just came back from Reedy Race where I finished in the top 30, even though I missed a day of practice. So I've been around quite a while. I'm not the fastest driver in the world because you know, I've taken, to become someone like Ryan Mayfield or Ryan Cavalieri, you got to spend 5-6 days at the track. Like, that's got to be your life. And I chose instead to go to school to get my degrees and then work full-time at X Factory as an engineer and a parts packager and all that stuff. And so I don't get to the track as much as I might like to be the fastest driver I could be. But I've been around for quite a while. I'm decently quick, and I know a lot.
Can you introduce our compadres?
Yeah, so I said this is Chaz. This is some other X Factor guys that came. Jim Edmonds and Chris Christo is our team manager from X Factor.
Can you have them tell folks a little about their
You guys want to? Go ahead.
Stand up. Sure.
Yeah.
How's it going, guys? I'm Jim Edmonds. Not quite as young as Paul here. I'm 37. I got 3 kids. Live up in New Hampshire. I just finished up a professional dirt bike career, and I've been racing RC now for probably about 4 or 5 years. And had a bunch of good runs in my career. A bunch of TQs, a bunch of top 5 finishes in the national races for short course. Not in the real nationals like Paul's talking about. He's talking about Ryan Mayfield, Cavalier, all those guys. We're talking about national as far as the smaller tracks are concerned. But yeah, I've been racing for 4 or 5 years, and I raced Nitro 8 scale, Electric 8 scale, Truggy, all the cars that you see here. And on the side, I actually paint a lot of bodies right now for a little hobby. As a lot of you guys have actually seen, a few people have been talking about this little radio, and a lot of guys say, hey, you know, that's a really cool wrap that you have on your radio. And I'm like, well, it's not bad. I'm like, they're like, how do you hide the seams and all the joints? I'm like, it's actually paint. They're like, no way, dude. So I do a lot of those and a lot of shells. And besides that, like I got 3 little kids to juggle around with the RC cars. So it's hard to get all this done in the weekend and stuff. So I'm surprised I'm actually here to get away for this little thing. So
Glad we have a vacation.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Chris?
So yeah, as Paul said, I'm Chris Christo from Massachusetts. Again, married, 2 kids. Kind of do this on my free time and whenever I get away as well. I've been with X Factory, driving X Factory cars probably 2000. What was the X first release?
2006.
2006.
Yeah. So I got one of the original kits. I actually bought one of the first X60s from Paul and Chaz in Florida when we were at the Clash in 2008. 9-ish.
9. Yeah, 9.
Chaz brought the kit to me. I had a T4 at the time, and I converted it at the track. And I don't remember what I finished, but from that point on, it was like I'm hooked on these cars, and I couldn't imagine driving anything else. Mid-motor was for me. Let's see, yeah. Mostly race in New England. Like I said, from Massachusetts, my home track's RC Excitement. Also hit up at RC Madness a bunch in the summer. I've traveled to Arizona for the Cactus, CRCRC in Ohio, Clash
Down in Florida.
Mississippi. So I hit a bunch of the bigger tracks. Just kind of love RC and love hanging out and
Wrenching,
my friends.
and gluing up tires.
Yeah, that's the best.
Chris has been racing. How long have you been racing, Chris? You've been racing forever.
So yeah, I raced a little bit when I was younger. I stopped around 93-ish. I probably started back like 8 years ago. Kind of just playing around, and probably the past 5 years I'm kind of serious into it.
And then you've been our team manager, our race team manager for the last 12 months or so?
Yeah, right around a year.
Yeah. We talked in Columbus, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah. And under Chris, Chris is our team manager. Our race team has grown. We probably have twice as many drivers around the United States now as we did before. These 2 guys can answer just about any RC question any of you can imagine, and we encourage you to. Yes, sir.
So you guys are just here to talk right now. You're not going to race tomorrow, right?
Oh, no.
You don't need to drive cars, actually.
They already gave me the trophy, so.
Yeah. We have the top 3 trophies, and the podium shots have been taken, so you guys can.
Anyway, I just wanted to kind of introduce ourselves. I didn't mean to drag that on. One of the reasons I'm glad Christo is here is that the relationship that Chris Christo and I have shared over the last 5-6 years. Christo and I really met at Cactus in 2005, 2006. And one of the things that Chris asked me back then was, how do I get fast? Like at that time, Chris was kind of if I can say this, he was kind of a typical stock driver, you know, 17.5, ran in the B mains at RC Excitement, you know, on club days, like just not, yeah, he had fun at it, but like he was looking for that next level. He was looking, how do I move from doing this as kind of a for fun thing to becoming a fast guy? How do I learn from going to Cactus, and how do I prep better for when I go down to the Clash and those kind of things? So something that you could ask him or I about is he and I have talked through the years about everything from the psychology to the maintenance and setup to car design. Like, we've covered the gamut of how do you get faster. And the result is Chris has moved from being that kind of B-main stock guy to winning club races in mod, finishing in the top 30 at the J Concepts race at RC Excitement. Had, you know, he's still kind of doing it on the weekend, racing Thursday nights. You know, not putting that 5 days a week that I mentioned that like Mayfield does. But he's really moved up, and I like to think he has a much better understanding of how the cars work and how to improve himself going forward. So that's one of the topics we could cover tonight, is kind of that, how do I get faster? How did Mayfield become Mayfield? How did Tebow become Tebow? What do those guys do? What, you know, is it just pure talent? Is it work? What kind of work is it? We could talk about car design. I could go on for hours about why mid-motor, in my opinion, is faster than rear motor, and the things that we've done on our car that make it better than almost any other car in the market. We could talk about tracks and track surfaces and tires and tire mounting. I don't have a particular plan. I could go on for an hour, as you can tell, and just launch right into it. But if you guys had questions or specific topics you guys wanted me to answer, I'd be happy to go in that direction. So anyone have something they want me to talk about?